Okay, so we got it to work. The only issue is that the movement is really rigid. It doesn't look so bad on our machines, but when it comes to the phone, it's not great. So we want to change this code. So instead of it moving immediately over here where we set the game position to hit point, what we want to do is we're going to change this to Lerp, right? To Lerp slowly. So I'm going to just quickly make an adjustment here. Actually, I'm going to rename this by going to refactor, and I'm going to just call this new position, because I think it's just a bit more, it makes a little bit more sense since that's the new position that we're moving to, right? It is the hit point that that was made in our update method, hit the hit point that moves in, but it's actually really the new position that we're moving to. And now we're not going to move it immediately to that. Instead, what we're going to do, and I'm just going to comment this out so we can keep it for future reference if we ever need to. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a, I'm going to lerp to that. So lerping just means, linearly interpolates between two vectors. So it's going to move between the original position that it's at and the new position that we're setting. So game object to place dot transform dot position, and that's the original position that it is. We want to move it to the new position, which is exactly kind of what we had already. The difference is we want to do it over a set amount of time. I'm going to do delta time, and I'm going to times it by speed so we can control how fast we want to move it. And speed we haven't made that yet, so I'm just going to quickly make that at the top here. And I've tested this out myself already, and what I found was speed being set to 3 was quite good for this, and I like the way it looked on my device, and I like the way it looked on the editor as well. So I've got an unexpected if here, so let's have a quick look at that. I must have made a mistake. I just forgot to do the semicolon, and I think we should be fine now. Let's just clear that, wait for it to finish loading. Okay, great. So let's try again. Let's see what it looks like now that we've added in the lerp. So we're going to look at the screen, and you can see now, instead of it moving immediately, it kind of slides into place, and that's going to remove that juttering effect that we had, right? So this is great. Now I like this, and I think this is much better. And again, we've tested this out, in Unity without having to put it onto the device, which I think is so much better. As opposed to having to build it to test it out. I mean, I'd always say we should build as well and test it out, so we can do that too. In fact, what we'll do is let's build it now and see what this looks like on the device as well, and make sure we're getting good results, because we've seen it on the Unity editor, but it might be different. So let's just build it anyway and double check that now. So we've got it to work now, and as you can see, it's so much smoother now, right? I can move the phone, and I mean, there's a little bit of jittering, but it's still sliding to where we want it to be. And that means I can walk around now, and we don't have the problems that we had before. So I really like that, and I think the speed's quite good as well. So you can see that worked on the device. We've got the lerping working, it looked good. And here it is again in the editor. So there's two issues I have with this though that we need to fix. All right, the first issue is if our camera looks off of the plane. So right now it's actually looking off of the plane, and if I move this camera up, the cube stays there, and I don't like that. I think when you're looking off of the cube, off of the plane, or non-trackable surface, the cubes should vanish, because I don't want people to think they're going to be placing it somewhere else. So that's something that needs to change. The second thing is that let me show you something. So now it's a bit of a strange one, this one, but the cube at the moment is set as the position is 0, 0, 0 in world space. So 0, 0, 0 in world space is over here, and on your phone 000 with augmented reality is going to be the first place in the world that you open up your app. So when you first start your app, 00 is going to be there. So let's take that and let's build off of that and show you an issue that I have. If you were to start your phone in here, let's say this is your bedroom, and then you went for a quick walk, you stepped outside, and then you went just to like your bedroom or something, right? And then you look down, you'll notice that the cube, which is at 00, is going to now travel from here. It's going to lerp from there all the way to where we look on the floor. So I'll show you that now. There. Now you saw it shoot across. Now that's a bit odd. Now it's not terrible, but it's a bit odd, and I don't really like that. I think if we were going to create this code, we need it to be a bit better than that. So I think it would be much better if we had two adjustments here. One, the first adjustment is that when you look off of the ground, the cube returns to its original place and or vanishes. And the second thing, and I'll build off of that first point in a second, the second thing is that when you look at a surface, the cube doesn't shoot off from the origin, or any item for that matter. Instead, it comes out of the camera as if you were placing it yourself. Now, this is really useful for, let's say, if you're playing an RPG game and you're setting out, your characters on the ground. It might look like they're coming out of the camera. Or since we're doing a furniture app, we're going to want our furniture to look like it's shooting straight out of the camera, like we're placing it. That's really cool. And when you put it away, it can shoot back into the camera. That's back on the first port, right? I think it would be better if it was stored in the camera rather than at 00. So we're going to address that now. We're going to make it so that the object doesn't stay where it is, it vanishes, and we're going to make sure that it kind of shoots out of the camera and has this kind of cool effect. So let's go ahead and work on that.